Hello there. Today we're going to talk a little bit about how I study openings, how to learn a new variation, a new opening, and you will get a method that you can always use. I'm going to take a specific line. I got this book. Carsten Hansen was kind enough to send it to me. It's about what he called the Carlsen variation in the anti-Sicilian. And I think maybe the name is a little bit questionable. I'm not sure Carlsen was the first or even the 10th to play this line, but he has played it, and so why not call it the Carlsen variation? He is, after all, the world champion. We're gonna look at what I would do to decide if I want to play the Carlsen variation. First, you've got to see what the Carlsen variation is. And it's knight c3, d6, d4. Weird. What? The knight is not out here, here, and here. And this is the idea. And that looks ridiculous, right? What is the queen doing there? So basically, white's plan is to go b3, bishop b2, castle queen side, and attack on the king side. With the aid of this bishop, which will be breathing fire down on black's king side. And the pawns here will just, these pawns here, will make them yellow. They might come all the way floating into black's position. Of course, black always also moves. It is kind of dangerous, and in general, open Sicilian kind of structures, they are dangerous for black, and it's only because black has learned a lot of tested ways of meeting different kind of attacking ideas for white that black is doing okay. In the beginning, he was just getting blown away, and this might also happen with this line. And what I liked about it is that white castle queenside, but he has very solid king position in the main line. Anyway, if I was to try and learn this line from this book, I would look at what Carsten says is the critical variation. So the critical variation, because if I don't have anything against what he says is the best option for black, then I cannot play the line. So in general, I think, okay, I like the idea, I like the concept, I would like to play this, but I need to have something against the best option for black that I like, because black will probably play that a lot. So we will go to the critical position quickly. G6 is makes sense to oppose the bishop, and after b3, it also makes sense to play bishop h6, disturbing the queen. And the thing is, often white would love to just play f3 and d4, but here he's forced to put his pawn here, and this pressure on this diagonal is a bit annoying. And here, by the way, there is a trap. If black goes e5, then white almost wins with knight b5, and black is just busted. Bishop takes, queen takes d6, and white is getting blown away. I made it a guy in 17 moves on the internet with this line, so it's dangerous. So knight f6, clearly best move. Or another option that you will have to look into, which is kind of double-edged, is to play f5. Looks very scary, but maybe not so bad. Knight f6, bishop b2, and this is what Carsten calls the main line, e5. And of course, you cannot move the pawn, and black is threatening to take it. And please don't castle, then you will lose your queen. So d3 is forced. And it makes sense for black to get his king out of the way. So this is more or less the critical position. There are many ways for black to play, and it's all covered in the book. I'm not going to show it anymore, just say that it's all covered in the book. But this is what Carsten says is the main line and the most critical. And here he gives this as the most critical. It was played by Dominguez against Firouzja, attacking this pawn. And here Firouzja played knight e2. It was in a rabbit game, but I think black gave this up because there was not many games, and this is one of the things you do when you start studying an opening. You take out your chess base, and then you put up the position, and then you search for it, or you do a reference check and see how many games are there. By the way, from this position here, black scores above average, so maybe the position is fine for black. But this line is probably not the best. After this, I think instead of knight e2, knight d5 makes a lot of sense. And basically white is just getting ready to play bishop e2, and maybe he'll play king b1 or queen, and there's also some queen c3, and just sacrifice the damn pawn and don't care about it. This diagonal here is pretty scary for black. Black is taking a lot of chances, just getting his pieces out. The main line of this is bishop e6, king b1. Let me just show you. I think it's more or less unclear, but black will have to play it. If it says that this transposes, I don't think so. I think black is in serious trouble after this move. Actually, he's more or less lost after something like this. This is just a total disaster. White will get a very, very good attack in this kind of position, so don't do this. So he'll have to play this move, and after something like this, I think this was the main line. I think no other move for black, all other moves for black is just losing. This is very, very unclear. It goes something like this, and the thing is, the computer says it's unclear, and sometimes it says white has an advantage. Of course, black is a pawn up, and he has, whoa, these two connected free pawns. But the thing is, there is all the open files. This king here is not safe. This bishop is great, and it's also bent, and their e-file might be to white's advantage, and these pawns, if one of them goes missing, white might be very fast on the queen side. It's a totally double-edged position. I wouldn't like to play this with black at all. I think I would definitely prefer white. Anyway, this is the main line. The other line went like this, and here, well, black is busted. So I think knight h5 is simply not a good idea, and I think black, this whole idea with clearing diagonal immediately is simply too simplistic. It doesn't work. It's not a good idea. So black has given it up, and by the way, the Firouzja game went like really crazy, like something like this, and he went here. And of course here, this is a little bit better for black because his queen is joined the action, but it's still, he didn't dare to take on f4, which is probably sensible. And something like this is very unclear. And here he took on b7, and it was a crazy game. And in the end, Firouzja, he won. But I don't think, I think that has more to do with him being a better rabbit player than Dominguez, and being very dangerous and bold. Anyway, this was the line that Carsten was fearing for white. But when you make a database search, you realize, but this was not the problem. The problem was that in this position here, black has started to play rook e8. Makes much more sense saying, okay, I'm not gonna bet everything on this pawn. Maybe I will just keep general pressure on white. And this was played in a lot of games, and eventually white found out, I don't have to cover the pawn. And this is basically also why this knight h5 idea is flawed, because in this position, and this was Gukas versus Sarana, and Sarana had won a few games with black with this rook e8, so it's kind of interesting. By the way, there is also something here on the d file. King b1, getting out of the problem, and look at this king side for white, or the king position. It's the queen side, but it's the king position on the queen side. It is rock solid. So white is more or less sitting like this with the up here and getting ready to say, okay, you can get a pawn. It's okay. I don't mind. I'll just get an attack. And of course, this is taking on d4 and e4 and meeting queen c3 with f6. It's pretty scary. I wouldn't dare go into that, and it will only be white that's attacking, and he will be probably attacking pretty hard. Serrano did knight d4, makes also a lot of sense, getting the d file blocking the bishop, and black just played white played bishop g2, covering the pawn, getting ready to. He just needs to clear the queen and be ready to do something on the king side here. And now he has to move the rook, and rook comes in here. But at this moment, I think white is probably better because his king position is so much more solid. Black's position looks very active, but well, and here I think this move is maybe the easiest way to play with white. But he played knight f3. It's all, and I think that's probably good too. Take, queen a5, and that's a natural move, putting pressure on this knight. But it's also this one. You have to be careful. And here Gukas decided that, okay, I'm gonna set a trap, and the computer really likes white after h4 here. But okay, it's a blitz game on the Title Tuesday tournament, so you can forgive white for setting a trap. And also it makes sense because the whole philosophy of white's position is to have a very solid king and say, okay, we're solid here, and we will play there where your king is hiding. And here he played rook a2, covering the queen. Black did not appreciate the idea with this move, and decided that now was the time to take on f4. And you get 20 seconds to find a good move for white here. Yeah. So, boom. Hitting the queen, hitting the knight, hitting the knight twice. So it's all over. And yeah, black should of course resign. It was a blitz game, so they played a little bit more. Came like this, and well, here. So let's take stock. Black is down rook, and resigning is not unnatural in that situation, but they still managed to play 28 more moves. So this is how I would approach it. Then I would, after I would start to look at the other options against this, and I would look at the recent, mostly Grandmaster games, see what are black doing at the moment? Should I is it a problem? And then I will walk through the lines slowly and find, looking at sort of the least critical, the things I don't think is that good last, because I think I can play that anyway. So, but anyway, this is a very interesting idea, just to go b3, bishop b2, and castle queenside. I played it in some blitz game. I lost some games where it turned out white's kingside, queenside, kingside, king position was not that safe after all. But I still think it's a very interesting line, and it sets black a whole range of new problems. By the way, I played some games against a Georgian, I think Nori or something, and he played like this, and played d5, and I thought, oh, what's that? And I still went like this, and he played here, and king b1. And here, king b1 also the best move. And here I think white is better. He's ready to meet something like this with knight b5 all the time. And here he played a move, and I unfortunately reacted wrongly both times. He played this move, and that's actually very bad because of this move. But I didn't see that, and black is under a lot of pressure with the bishop strong, and white's king is safe, and so on, and the pin is not a problem. Anyway, this was a little trick. If you happen to meet this player, the threat is this pawn, and destabilizing the whole king side for black. Thank you for watching. This was what we call the critical variation method, and I think a lot of grandmasters uses this approach, because if you want to play something, you have to make sure you got something against what they are most likely to play and what you are afraid of. So this is what you will look at first, then you will go into the lesser lines later. And of course, one of them will turn out to be the critical line, but that's how it goes with theory, modern game theory. Thank you for watching. This was GM Talks. I'm your host, Sune Berg Hansen.